Let's say I'm a startup and we decide to go with influential marketing. What's the best way to start? Should I have like one mistake a lot of companies do when they work with influencers? They just pay per single post. They just one post. There's as opposed to having a 6 to 12 month relationship, 6 to 12 month engagement with influencer. It's like a very common mistake because nothing will happen from a single story. It's about building consistency, or maybe some other suggestions you have when it comes to influencer marketing.
So this is mostly in the Indonesian context, where I did a lot of influencer marketing my fashion startup at the time. I do think we did have one-off relationships with influencers, but it really only worked really well. There was literally like 100x difference in how well it worked between different influencers. And the one that worked really well is where the influencer themselves actually cared and liked the product, and it sort of fit in with their overall marketing. It didn't the post didn't seem like marketing to their audience, and it sort of made sense that that person with the personality they've built up would use that product. And then it was sort of things where they came to our office, they sort of experienced us as a company much less so than like, hey, you should use this product, but like, hey, meet these interesting people that are trying something new. So like a more authentic approach in terms of what the content is and really giving people access.
So is the suggestion to try out, let's say you have a budget for you have some initial budget and you can start with 50 influencers. Do you start with buying a single post from each of those 50 and then you double down on what's working?
I think you want to categorize them into different style of influencers, like target audience. And then maybe try one from each category, depending on your budget, of course, and how fast you want to move. And then whatever works from there, you buy every single influencer in that category.
In that category, wonderful. And when it comes to this, when it comes to the multi-month engagement, what are you in favor of that?
I mean, you're hitting the same audience over and over again, right? So I would probably, in doubt, I would go back 3 months later, maybe to the same person, but not a week later. And influencers they don't want to talk about the same thing.
Correct.
2 episodes. You probably don't want to make a podcast with me next week. So for the same reasons, maybe later on you can come back with a different story, and maybe definitely bookmark that person. Okay, this works. Their audience is receptive. Maybe ask that person, hey, who are your friends that are sort of playing the same audience, or who are your competitors if they want to share? And then go to those people instead.
And what makes sense when it comes to when it comes to the payment period? Essentially, how much should you be willing to pay for an influencer, and what does this number depend on?
Based on their audience, their relevant audience to you. Like if they play for several markets of several countries, then you need to somehow try to estimate how many of these viewers or listeners are actually relevant to you, and then based on that you should approximately price, and ultimately of course want to come down to how many downloads or users, customers you get from this. But that conversion rate from relevant audience to downloaders or customers is really the difficult thing. That's why you're testing in the first place. But so before you know that, you want to just estimate the approximate market size that's actually relevant.
Do you suggest to work with agencies or to work with influencers directly?
I always tend away from agencies.
Why is that?
I mean, you can just hire the same people that have that expertise, and you save a huge margin and actually learn a lot more because you're one step closer to the influencers. There's an incentive problem with agencies, obviously. And I just know what's happening. I get control, ultimately, over your marketing channels. And that's what I was hired for very often, to really build teams that control end-to-end, sort of, and buy the ads themselves, design the ads themselves, and then really know every data point.